Less than 2 weeks are left for a critical electoral battle in the United States. But at a time when the election season is at its peak, American investigation agencies are busy dealing with a terror threat. Over the last few hours, several prominent rivals of US President Donald Trump have received pipe bombs in their mail. So far, as many as 9 suspicious packages have been discovered across the United States. Today, 2 pipe bombs addressed to 2 well-known Trump critics were found. In New York, security at a property of Hollywood star Robert De Niro discovered a suspicious package that was addressed to the actor. They found it at around 5 a.m. and informed the New York Police Department. Bomb squads were immediately dispatched to that spot. They later took away that package for disposal. Later, cops in Delaware found another suspicious package at a post office. The FBI on Wednesday had said that they were trying to track down this package that was addressed to the former Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden. One American media house that is often a target of Trump's verbal assaults also received a mail bomb on Wednesday. These incidents put together have triggered an intense investigation and a political war in the United States of America. This is our cover story tonight.
Tight security outside the Washington home of Barack Obama. America's Secret Service stepped up security of the former American president after they found a suspicious package in their mail. Similar scenes were playing out outside the New York home of another former president, Bill Clinton. Routine mail screening caught another suspicious mail. In a matter of a few hours, the world found out that these were not isolated incidents. American news network CNN's New York offices were evacuated after a pipe bomb was found in the mail.
Responding officers identified a device that appeared to be a live explosive device. NYPD bomb squad responded, secured the device, and removed it for investigation.
American authorities intercepted several such packages addressed to prominent Democrats in Washington, New York, Florida, and Los Angeles. Philanthropist George Soros was the first target. He received a pipe bomb at his New York home on the 22nd of October. Obama's former Attorney General Eric Holder and prominent African-American Maxine Waters also received suspicious packages. It did not end there. Reportedly, a suspicious package was found at a property owned by Hollywood star Robert De Niro. All those who were on target are regularly criticized by the right wing in America. Many of them have been subjected to verbal assault by Donald Trump. The American president has promised a thorough investigation.
The full weight of our government is being deployed to conduct this investigation and bring those responsible for these despicable acts to justice.
The attempted attacks come during the peak election season in America. The upcoming midterm election is a must-win for both the Democrats and the Republicans. Trump is being accused of putting lives of his rivals in danger through his rhetoric. These claims will only add to the highly polarized political debate in the coming days. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Let's go straight across now to WION's correspondent joining us from Washington, D.C. Malcolm Brown has been tracking the very latest for us. Thanks very much, Malcolm, for speaking with us here on WION. Let me begin by asking you the latest in terms of the investigation into those bomb threats. Of course, all of those developments over the last few hours have left the United States on tenterhooks. What's the latest that you're gathering?
We're up to 10 suspicious packages now. There were 2, in fact, addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden. So 10 suspicious packages, and this is now a major multi-agency effort. The FBI making it a top priority, not surprisingly, given, as you've just reported, 2 former presidents were among those targeted by this bomber or bombers. So this is a very large investigation. The Postal Service has its own internal investigative capabilities. You've got the New York Police Department, which is a very substantially sized and well-resourced department, also involved. The FBI, so federal level investigation as well. All of those coming together, making this basically a top priority for all of those agents right now.
Right. Right, Malcolm, Donald Trump has been blamed in a way for creating an atmosphere, a climate that supports such attacks. Even while he condemned those attacks, he also, in the same breath, criticized the media, attacked the media for its continuing hostility, as he called it. How has the media, given that a channel also was bearing the brunt of such an attack, how has the media in the United States so far responded and reacted to Donald Trump's comments?
Well, President Trump, as you've just said, did initially call for unity. He condemned political violence and threats of violence. And there was a hope, perhaps, among some in his critics, in the ranks of his critics, that he might, in fact, adopt a more conciliatory approach and try and help to achieve the unity that he said he wanted to see in the country. There was a slightly toned down campaign speech in the state of Wisconsin overnight, where he did scale back some of his typical rhetoric that he uses in front of these large crowds on the road. But if there was a hope that he was going to back down substantially, that hope was pretty much dashed. I mean, even in that campaign speech, he was going after the media. And then in a Thursday morning tweet, he went after the mainstream media again, accusing them of being responsible for a lot of the anger that exists in the country and not really accepting any personal responsibility, which is what his critics say he should be doing. He criticized the media and others for casting aspersions on him and his motivations without accepting responsibility for using similar language himself. He's called some of his political opponents evil. In response to the media, particularly CNN, which is the media outlet that people are looking at most closely, it is an outlet that he has singled out pretty regularly, or all the time, in fact, for criticism. It's also one of the entities that received one of these suspicious packages. CNN on-air anchors saying that the network will not back down, that it will continue to report the facts as it sees them and finds them. So the state of play is pretty much where we were. Sarah Sanders, the White House spokesperson, also came out this morning and was peppered with questions from the media asking whether the president accepted any personal responsibility for the poisonous political climate in this country at the moment. And they're really not backing down. A very pugnacious, typically pugnacious response from her. So both the media and the president are staying pretty much on their typical courses. The state of play that existed prior to this spate of bombings or attempted bombings.
Right, and also considering that the common thread running through those who were targeted is that they are Trump critics. And also this development coming so close on the heels of the U.S. midterm elections, just 2 weeks away from the elections. Is this also being seen as a way to threaten the anti-Trump camp?
Well, it depends who you ask that question to. Certainly, there are those, many critics of President Trump who point out that those who've been targeted by this bomber or bombers are all very prominent Democrats or prominent critics of President Trump. Those on the right, though, there's plenty of talk in conservative circles that this could be, based on no evidence that's been presented so far, what they call a false flag operation, which would be an operation conducted by a liberal designed to make conservatives look bad and undermine their message. So there is no national consensus that interprets these bombings one way or the other.
Indeed. So America stands divided on that development, of course, and on tenterhooks as far as that bomb scare is concerned. Malcolm, thanks very much indeed for getting us the latest and piecing for us that development and those bomb scares that, of course, have left not just the United States gripping with tension, but many across the world also wondering if U.S. President Donald Trump's rhetoric has put the lives of his rivals at risk. Well, a number of Democrats agree with that assessment. They point at the U.S. president's attempts to invoke images of violence during his speeches, especially against the media. Donald Trump's statements have often raised concerns. Earlier in August this year, a team of experts from the United Nations condemned Donald Trump's criticism of the media. They claim that his comments have in fact raised the risk of violence against journalists. The last few days have also exposed the deep political divisions in America's politics, as we just discussed. Listen in now to what Hillary Clinton had to say on Wednesday.
We are fine, thanks to the men and women of the Secret Service who intercepted the package addressed to us long before it made its way to our home. Every day we are grateful for their service and commitment, and obviously never more than today. But it is a troubling time, isn't it? And it's a time of deep divisions, and we have to do everything we can to bring our country together.
And it seems like the severe criticism of his speeches was on the president's mind when he stepped up to address a rally. Listen to what President Donald Trump had to say.
And by the way, do you see how nice I'm behaving tonight? This is like, have you ever seen this? We're all behaving very well. And hopefully we can keep it that way, right? We're going to keep it that way.
With the bomb scare, the targets of Donald Trump's rhetoric have become the intended targets of violence. All this coming at a time when campaigning for the midterm elections is at its peak. These elections will define the political fate of several big names, including President Donald Trump himself. While it may not be clear who is behind these suspicious packages, we can say one thing for sure: this was an attempt to stoke panic among the American voters, and such threats must not be ignored.